I'm CJ Brown.
And I'm Mike Singletary.
We're here today to have a conversation about football
versus football, brought to you by Meridian,
the official health plan partner of the Chicago Fire FC.
What's your most memorable moment as a professional athlete?
I played for a long time for the Fire, and we won championships. MLS Cup was my first year, MLS Cup and Open Cup. So we played to win trophies, and we won 2 that year. So that has to be one of the biggest ones. But I think the biggest moment has to be the day that I was offered a contract to play for the Fire. I was a kid from Hayward, California, that just was playing soccer for fun, didn't know where it would take me. I think the day that I signed and became a professional soccer player was probably one of the greatest moments for me in this sport.
I think my most memorable moment as a professional athlete, first time I made All-Pro, it was coming off of a conversation that I had with one of our players. After our last game, we had just played Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay was the worst team in the league that year. And we just lost to them, our last game of the year. We get on the bus, and one of my teammates grabbed my forearm and said, Mike, I know you want to be an All-Pro, but we're not good as a team. You're not good enough as a player. That's not for guys like you and me. That's for those other guys, you know, like Peyton and Hampton and first-round picks and all that. I got up and I moved somewhere else, but before I did, I told him, I said, don't ever tell me what I can or cannot do. And so we were sitting in the meeting, and one of the marketing guys that worked for the Bears came and tapped me on the shoulder and said, you made the All-Pro team. I asked Buddy if I could get up and go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I was like, oh man, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What do you mean you can't do it? Yeah, you can do it. Oh man, I was so excited. Don't tell me what I can't do.
Did the other player that was there, did he get to speak to you after and say, my bad, I shouldn't have said that?
That player was Steve McMichael. Mm-hmm. And the next year he made All-Pro.
Oh, okay.
How would you compare football to soccer?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Obviously, it's not as physical as football is. Soccer is a very big endurance sport, so it's constant movement, constant staying tuned in and focused. And you can correct me if I'm wrong on some of this stuff, but football to me was you had split seconds of action, and you had to stay focused, and then you could kind of turn on and off in a sense. But soccer was always the ball's moving. Physically tackling people is obviously a big difference, although I felt in my game I was very physical. My dad was a football player, and so I took a little bit of that into my game, and if anybody knows who I was back in the day, I was more physical when it came. I was a defender, so everything about me was tackling and being a force in the back line.
First of all, football to me is like interval training. Mm-hmm. You know, you're revving up and getting all your energy going, whether you're on a treadmill or whether you're bicycling or whatever it is. You need all that energy right now, at that moment. And after however amount of time that lasts, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, a minute, and then you're down again. And that's kind of how football is. And so it's being able to constantly be in a mode of attack.
How important was nutrition and diet during your career?
Nutrition and diet was very important. I mean, I constantly talked to our trainer and team doctors about, what to eat, and drank a ton of water, always, and really all of the salads that I could eat. And as time has gone on, obviously I've changed my diet to eat even more vegetables and fruits and things like that, and more water. But when I was playing, it was pretty close to what it is now, but not as refined.
What is your favorite pregame and postgame meal?
My favorite pregame meal is breakfast. I mean, just breakfast, egg whites, maybe bagel or something like that. After the game, you know, it could be anything. It could be soul food, it could be Italian food. I didn't really care as long as it was a good meal.
Nice. I was a breakfast guy. I loved breakfast, so I always had a heavy breakfast, whether it's omelets, pancakes, you name it. And then my wife would always make me broccoli, pasta, and chicken before a game. And then after a game, yeah, it could be anything. All the energy that I'd given out, and I would eat whatever I wanted to the night after. And the Fire actually we did a really cool thing after games back then, where we would go to a restaurant and with the team and the fans would be around, and we'd get to eat and hang out and do all that stuff. So that was kind of cool. So we kind of ate wherever they had a restaurant for us, we went to it. So basically,
that is cool.
Yeah. What role does mental health play in your overall performance?
Preparation is key. It's kind of like life. You know, when you're living life, things come up that you're not prepared for. It causes you to be anxious, and you know, anxiety comes up, and man, you're trying to figure out, well, how in the heck did this happen? I didn't know this was going to happen. I'm not prepared for this. And preparation is the same way. I've always had the mindset that by the time I come on the field, there is nothing that you can run that I haven't seen. And that gave me a great peace, a great calm.
No, that's good. That preparation is key, right? Preparation is everything. And now that I look at it, I was in a good piece every Saturday to play a game, and that was what I did from Monday to Friday to be prepared for a game on Saturday. And that was the people I was surrounded with. That was the way I took care of my body. That was the way I prepared from watching other opponents. But yeah, mental health is key, and I think it's really big now. It's on a lot of people's minds now to become and be the best people they can be in their sport. How do you get yourself into the zone before a game? Did you have any rituals?
It starts right after the last game you played. To do that, you know, right after the game, that Sunday night, I would go get film of the next team and start watching them, so I could begin to forget about whatever happened today, forget it, and let's start thinking about the next game.
When you wake up in the morning to the time you reach the stadium, is there a pattern?
From the time I woke up that morning, I was very quiet, and like I'm saying, just trying to keep the top on it. It was just having breakfast, and when the whistle blew, boom, the lights are on. I've been trying to contain it ever since Friday or Saturday, and now it's alive. It's ready to go. It's on.
Yeah, so if the game is over for us on Saturday, we obviously have the Sunday off, then we come in, train Monday. On my own, I would watch games. The hard thing is you did the VHS, so you had to have a VCR back then. So it was a little more challenging trying to watch games, but I would watch the attacking part of the game of every opponent that I played during the week. I'd wake up Saturday morning, and every Saturday morning I'd get up, have a heavy breakfast, go back to sleep. I would watch some TV, and then I'd get into the stadium and I would sit in my locker. Sometimes I listened to music, not a lot, just sat in my locker thinking about who I had to mark and what I was gonna do. What were your favorite ways to wind down or decompress after a game?
I needed to relax, and that normally meant, you know, date night with my wife and I, and that would be going to a movie and just trying to find something funny or romantic.
My way of decompressing, so if we played on a Saturday, that night, depending win or loss, mentally I would go different ways. If it was a loss, there was more of being with the family, trying to just get rid of the game in some sense. If it was a win, then I tried to enjoy it, the moment, as much as I could that night. But then my week went on to the point of we would have the day off right after playing, and then the next day we would train, and it would be a slow build-up, like you said, a slow build-up, watching video, doing the things that take care of your body, mentally just getting myself prepared again for another Saturday to go at it. As defensive players that were so important to your respective teams, did that require a certain leadership quality?
Having a defensive mentality of being able to stop them. From that standpoint, I love having a defensive mentality, knowing that When you play defense, you set a tone for the game that the other team has to reckon with.
Yes. I look at it the same way, and we have attacking players. Usually the number 10 is the key player, kind of considered like a quarterback in some sense. I prided myself on stopping the best player on the opposite team. And leadership, to me, I think you can win tons of games with attacking teams, but you cannot win championships without a good defense. And so that starts with us as defenders, and that's why I think we are big leaders to clubs and teams. What is your advice for young athletes?
Find a mentor as soon as you can and ask them to have lunch with you or breakfast or whatever it is, and be prepared to listen.
I think you hit it on the head. Find someone that you look up to. But then the next step of that is, it's not just sit and listen to them, but understand what that person went through. Because the greats like yourself, the Kobe Bryants, they were these amazing athletes for a reason. If you want to be something, then it's a change you have to make in your life. It's a change you have to adapt to what you want to be in whatever sport it is you choose. You have to consume yourself in it. You have to sink yourself into being the best player, athlete, or whatever it is that you're doing by preparation.